This is welcome. Thanks for coming. How you
Thank you for
doing?
having me. Hey, everybody. Thank y'all for
Hey.
being so patient.
Yeah, sorry for the lateness. Completely my fault. We were supposed to do this last week. We should have been did this,
Yeah.
but here we are, 2024, and it's January 20th, I believe. Um, and we're here with a sister. Finally got a sister, a former ICGJC member that can give us a point of view from what a sister, not only what a sister goes through, but a daughter or stepdaughter of an apostle, which is a high ranking member of the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ. Me and her have this connection, this relatability that we can both kind of corroborate stories. But it's
Miguel,
important
it's like
for me.
double. Like, is your YouTube
Yeah.
playing in the background?
Oh, it's doubling up?
Yeah, I can hear you and the volume in the background.
Oh, it's damn. Let me see. Can anybody I hear you perfectly. Let me see if anybody else can maybe let me
I'm gonna
know
put
if
some.
it's if you have something in the background too. Because this is separate. This is a TV, and then I got my phone, and I have nothing else in the
It
background.
just stopped. It might have been
Okay.
my app. Okay, we're good. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. Go
No
ahead.
problem. Yeah, no problem. I want to make sure everything is good. So, I'm gonna just. I guess you want me to introduce you, or you want to kind of introduce
Oh,
yourself?
it's your
Okay.
show. Go with
So,
it. You can introduce me.
so I have a video playing in the background here. This is actually a Facebook video that this is how I came across you, Cena. Since 2015, 2016, I've been out of this Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ. I used to be a captain of 13,000, and there was a Facebook group that opened up called Survivors of the Tasmaniac. It started off as a closed, a private group, and then people started kind of pushing for, let's make it public. And I don't know if this is where I came across your video. I'm guessing it was. So it was a Facebook video. You went live, and you kind of poured your heart out, and it takes a lot of courage. I got to commend you on that. This is not easy to do. So I was very moved by it, and I asked you. I contacted you and asked you if I could post your video on my channel. You said definitely. I
Yep.
said great. I did it immediately. This was posted on April 22nd of 2020. So this is going back almost 4 years now.
Yep.
But now I finally have you here, so we can actually talk and go back and forth, and I'll ask you questions. But yeah, just like that's just a little intro of how I came across you for everybody to know. Who you are. You're the stepdaughter of Apostle Raawban, or former Apostle Raawban. Um, just from my point of view, just to give you a little bit of insight, when I came in 04, over the my first, like, just coming in my first few years, I would love listening to Apostle Raawban. Or
Yeah.
now he's a member from what that's the word right now, right? He's a member. He has no rank, is what that means, or citizen or whatever. Um, so he would be on the radio station that Philadelphia, I guess the Philadelphia church, the ICGJC Philadelphia branch had in Philly. I forget who ran that show, but Raawban would come on there, here and there. I used to record off of the computer and get it on a CD, and would listen to this guy. And I thought he was, behind Ariyah and Tazadakia. He was like number three for me.
Mm-hmm. For a lot of
And
people.
yeah, yeah. So something about him, I just connect. He connected with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is your stepfather, right? How old? So I'll start off. I guess, how old were you when you came into this, or your mother came in? What's the story behind the origin of Cena in the ICGJC?
Yeah, good question. We came in right before the whole 2000 and 2K Y2K stuff. So I was 9.
You were 9.
Um, I was 9 when I came into this foolishness. So when I tell you I've seen it all, heard it all,
Yeah.
I'm 32 now for y'all reference. I came in when I was
Wow.
9.
Wow. And when, just to kind of fast forward, we'll get all the in between, but how old were you when you, I guess, left physically or mentally, or like, maybe we should probably get to that eventually because it's probably a whole story behind that. But
We can. I was
yeah,
21 when I walked out.
okay,
They didn't
21.
put they didn't put me out. I walked out before they
You
start
walked
making their
out,
clip before they start making their clips.
right? No, because they're gonna say, no, you don't know it, sister, but God put you out. You just don't know it.
No, sir. I left. I walked out.
You left on your own
I
volition.
did. I did.
You know, as because I'm working on a video. I'm gonna let it just marinate a little bit because there's a lot of things going on with the ICGJC and with myself too. But I want to definitely respond to these guys. But this is a great video to do. That is gonna hit really hard. I want to just ignore them kind of and not directly address what they say because they never directly address what anybody says really.
Yep. No,
This
I'm
is
not. I'm
gonna hit
just saying. I
hard.
know. I know the rhetoric is
Mhm.
everybody that got put out is whatever, whatever. And I think my purpose and my message really for this whole thing is that there's a life outside of there, and so
Yeah,
I'm hopefully trying to be an example of you can walk out and like you will be okay. You know.
yeah. That's something that I wanted to highlight with you for sure. When I first saw your video and I saw your entire profile and what you were doing and getting ready to do, I understood that you are using this whatever trauma, however you want to define it, this point in your life and kind of like bouncing back hard, using that energy and flipping it on them, which is kind of
Mhm.
like what I wanted to do because it's like I can't just ignore this. There's people that everybody deals with this experience differently. Your experience is a lot more different than mine because you were coming up from 9 years old. You were a child, and your mind, of course, is developing.
Right.
You're becoming that age, like especially 9 through 13, 14, going through middle school. You were in middle school. You were in elementary school, right? Nine, yeah, you were in
Yeah, I was
elementary.
in elementary.
And so you're becoming like a person starts to really become a child, come into who they are, kind of, like you start seeing that in middle school. I remember during, me coming up, you start seeing like all of a sudden friends start dressing like gothic or some start going hip hop,
Yep.
and you start becoming
Yep.
kind of who you are. So that's like in psychology when it comes to cults, it'll tell you that they put a grip on you. These cults put a tight grip on you by having you go through major life experiences while being in the cult because you kind of relate that with the cult now and your mind fuses it, and that constantly happens to me when I'm driving by certain places. I'm like I can't help but think about it.
Yep.
So
Me too.
yeah. So some people, so the way that you dealt with it, the way that I dealt with it too, is head on. Just I have to deal with it. I have to address it and kind of it's therapeutic for me too to do things like this.
Mhm.
There's other people that this might work for them. I don't know. I From what I've studied, it's not really it's gonna come up eventually if you just kind of try to put it out of sight and out of mind and it's going to come up somehow and it's like unresolved issues. So what I saw that you were doing, I wanted to highlight it because they try to show us to be kind of like a disaster case.
Mhm.
Look
Yep.
what their lives have become afterwards. And sometimes that might be true because of the cult. They don't realize it's all because we're products of the cult. And they try to make it seem as if, oh, it's because God is punishing you. It's like, no, there's people that they put out some people that I have a problem. I don't like when they start talking about people, that I'm really close with,
Right.
So I'm like, I felt, I feel like, oh, well, I'm here now, San Miguel TV. I kind of put myself out, out there to be somebody that is addressing this. So this is how we're gonna do it. And Cena, again, thank you for coming. I'm gonna
You're welcome.
stop talking so much
No, you're
and
good. You're welcome.
get back to your story because it's all about you right now. So okay, so you come in, you're 9 years old, it's before the year 2000. So do you remember how they kind of what's the word, I guess, reconciled the failed prophecy with, okay, it didn't work out, but here we are and this is still the truth. Like, what do you
Yeah.
remember at that time about that?
That was a okay. I'm trying to think what starting point to start with for this. But basically, coming into it, it was very fast. So if any of you guys are familiar with like narcissistic abuse, like the whole love bombing and all that, that's what it's that's and those of you who are a member, if you think back to when you first got in, think about how quickly you felt like, oh, this is family. Oh, I'm a part of something. Oh, this is bigger than me. And so the interesting part about my story is I went through that experience with them, really my mom. And then right after that, the Y2K stuff happened. So we
Right.
were in there for like a few months, I think, maybe
Yeah.
less than a year. And then they went into the whole failed prophecy. So I'm going into this like prior to this, I had pretty much a semi-normal childhood. I was with my grandparents, all of that. Um, and coming into the church now, it's like, oh, this is the truth. This is who we are, us against the world, the whole mindset. So when the Y2K thing happened, I was confused. I was still a kid, so I couldn't really understand it or
Right.
explain it. But I remember a lot of people being upset that it didn't come to fruition. There was a splitting happening as all of the failed prophecies that have happened in this building. I'm not going to call it a church because I won't even give it the respect to say that. But after most of the failed prophecies, if y'all notice, there's always a split because you have the ones who are asking the questions. Well, wait a minute, didn't y'all say this was going to happen on this day? And you had the ones who questioned. So that was the same situation with Y2K. Um, there was questions splitting up, people left, people were upset. And then I remember there was like a crackdown of fear, as is what always happens in this building when they have a failed prophecy. Somebody says something, it's a false prophet, they break it down, and then, or what they call it, a breakdown, and then when it doesn't happen, they have to make everybody afraid again, so you don't question why this thing didn't come to pass. So that's what I remember. I remember 2000 being a year of like, if you're not with us and you don't believe us, you're gonna die. Period. Like death. Period.
About
And
that
that
9 year,
fear
like,
is what locked in my head at like 10. And
yeah.
to be honest with you, Miguel, that's the reason I didn't leave until I was 21. Because from that moment forward, I was locked in that fear that if I walked out this door, something was going to happen to me.
That's the most powerful form of control. I like to study former cult members that actually study psychology too and try to help others. I want to set up something myself, like some type of nonprofit, some type of network to help people because I'm getting emails and I'm like, damn, you know,
Mhm.
I want to maybe go to school for something like this because I can't, I'm not gonna be giving people advice, that with some of the
Right.
you see some of the stuff people are going through, and this your situation is definitely something that is hard to understand if you haven't been there, if you haven't gone through the same thing, if you're not, especially like exactly what you went through because I can't even relate to your to a certain level what you went through, but the fear it's very big. It's part of the there's a what do you call it, a framework or I guess a model that was set
Yep.
up by Steve Hassan called the bite model. So it's four letters that makes up the word bite, that creates the four different elements, how you can maybe determine whether this place or a place is a cult or not. And if it hits about three, then you know for sure this is a cult. But there's a very thin line between a cult and a religion anyway. That's a whole nother story. But the bite model deals with B stands for behavior control, I is information control, T is thought control, and then E, I think, is the most powerful one, is emotional control.
Mhm.
That's where the fear comes in. The rejoicing, like I have a lady, a warrior is her name. She's emotionally connected to this place. She cries during class because of breakdowns. It would destroy her, like if she would leave.
Yep.
It's so hard. It's easier for them, like the year 2000 breakdown or the year 2000 failed prophecy, for example. That didn't happen. And now in their mind, instead of just leaving the thing altogether, which is harder, it's easier for them to just kind of put that off to the side, just one thing, and then because now they start thinking, well, what about the tribe of Dan or the
Yep.
breakdown this and all these different things, that it's like, what do I do? And it's tough, it's difficult. So what's easier for them and people to mentally do is just spiritualize the breakdown, which is a form of kind of like, yeah, frame,
Re-indoctrinating.
yeah, so it can be fulfilled in a way where it's like out of reach, though. It's unfalsifiable. You can't even prove whether it happened or not. It's just like you just got to believe it. It happened in the spirit. God didn't come in the flesh, but He came in the spirit through Tazadakia or whatever. Because I've heard that breakdown. That's how they spiritualize it.
Can
But
we please, once you get to him, I got so much to say about that. So when you're
yeah,
ready,
but yeah, emotional control with the fear for sure. Controls, and then think about a 9-year-old, a child being told the
right?
world's about to end soon. This,
Exactly.
this is a doom.
Exactly.
Yeah, it creates urgency
Exactly.
and all of
And
that. But
so just to like give context and perspective on the time frame, this my mom also got married very quickly. I'm talking probably less than 8 weeks of us joining the church. She was married to Raawban. So it was fast. You know what I mean? So we're talking about new relationship, new marriage. Now this person who, like you said, everybody in Philly was basically, I'm not disrespecting you guys in any way. I'm just recounting how I saw it as a kid. Basically, everybody in the Philly church was like bowing down. You know what I'm saying? To when it came to him. So now the story is, well, this person is now your dad. And now it's this is the truth, we're this, the world's about to end. Y2K breakdown, right? So I'm going through all of that at like 10, 9, going into 10. And so it's total clamp down. It's no, there is leave how? What am I leaving? This is now my world. So now total isolation from family, because I remember this actually happening where my mother literally said, I'm not throwing her under the bus either. I'm telling y'all the story, because I share my story because, like you said, Miguel, how you still have people who reach out to you. I do have sisters who reach out to me and
yeah,
say, I've heard your story. I'm terrified for my grandchild or my son or my nephew that's in there. I want to get them out before something happens to them that like happened to you. How do I do it? So I'm doing this and retelling the story, hopefully hopefully one of those sisters understands you can get yourself out, you can get your family out, and those kids that you care so much about. And I'm hopefully I can tell you how through like my story. So that's why I'm, recounting this the way I am. Um, but I remember my mom saying like, that's it, total disconnection from the family. So I go from being with cousins every single weekend, visiting grandparents every single weekend. You know what I mean? Like they're picking me up from school. We're going to my aunt had a house in Jersey that we would go to every summer and go swimming and jump in the pool and like, what cousins do. All of that stopped in the year we joined.
mm,
So I go from slightly being around like my fit to like nothing. Now it's just me, her, and Raawban. And I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So total isolation, no phone calls, nobody knew where we were. We moved around so much, nobody could find us. And it went from isolation to mental abuse to information control, like you said. Now we can't watch certain things. We can't watch the news. We have to only listen to what the brothers say. We have to only listen to the radio station. Everything is Sabbath service.
mm,
Everything is we're going to the church, right? No outside information. My teachers didn't even know what was going on. My best friends at school didn't even know what was going on with me. I just went in total shutdown. And from there, the emotional control came in. That's what set the whole thing on fire.
mm.
Hmm.
Wow. I want to give a shout out to everybody on here. There's a lot of former members. Much love to all of y'all. This sister right here is a prime example that there's nothing to be scared about. You're not gonna die when you leave this place. There's people in there that have died. The Tazadakia, Jermaine Grant is dead. Like the witch is dead. The spell is coming off slowly but surely. I knew that studying these cults, how they operate, I knew people weren't going to be leaving by the droves in 2020. But I've been noticing recently, I've been getting these influx of emails. People are hitting me up, and I think they're starting to realize, like, I think it's safe now, and there's, with the help of people like the Injustice League brothers, the Taza Detoxification Station. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, guys, but I got nothing but love for y'all. They did great work. Cena is definitely a perfect example. And then there's people that've been doing stuff here and there. I can remember Sabi Princess. Her testimony was amazing. And I'm trying. I'm not. I never started this thing to make money or to be a savior or to start my own little thing so people could follow me. I never did any of that. My whole thing was I need to reach people because they shun you when you leave, which and
Yep.
this and similar to what you just said. Even though I didn't cut a bunch of people off, there are people that come in, cut their family off, or disrespect them, ruin relationships, and then they get put out or they leave, and
Yep.
now nobody. um that's a horrible thing to go through, and then you have things that are like dire, like you need to tell people that you love in there, this is what's going on, and they cut you out. And I felt that does something psychologically too. These cats are evil as hell. And with me, I was desperate. I was like, I need to get this off my chest. So I started the channel. I said, you guys are gonna watch me and listen to me indirectly because you guys are scared to talk to me in person, for fear of getting exposed and put out and all of that. But secretly, they're watching and they're realizing, everything seems the coast is clear, I think, and they might start to come out here and there. But then you have people that are so stuck that are confirming people's beliefs and but people like you, Cena, and like people I just mentioned, and my channel helps to show people that it's okay and confirm their disbelief. It's power in numbers,
Yep.
so I'm glad you joined me, and I hope more people will speak out. What's up to Cena? To Eva Stan, or I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Eva Stansbury or Eva Stansbury. She says, "My heart goes out to the children and the broken families who were told nothing but lies. Brothers who left their wife and kids behind for this organization. It's just sad,
Mm-hmm.
scary." That's some of the things that really you know uh definitely affect me and made me want to motivated me to make even more videos when I saw these guys laughing about, oh, your kids don't even like you. Your kids are happy that you're gone. I never seen them so happier. They divide families. That's one of the toughest things. It's when you have an unbelieving spouse and a believing spouse with children, and then the children get the worst of it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we're getting the point of view from a sister here, Cena's point of view, and a child, which is very important to understand because I did not grow up in this thing. I came in at 20. So, I want to hear more definitely. So yeah, the doomsday thing, the urgency that's created. The world's coming to an end. They tell these, even right now, they're telling these kids 6 years old, 7 years old. Some of my family's still in there, and it's like I can only imagine the fear. It's like it creates this urgency, like the car salesman, limited time only. Act now, and it's like you start to feel like, well, I got to do this now, and it pushes people further in there.
Yeah, it
Um,
does. I mean, can I just give an example? My mom is in the comments literally calling me all types of names and things. And
what's that? Cool.
my mom is in the chat calling me a liar. And it's funny because, as I said, go back and look like that video you posted behind you, Miguel, where I
Yeah.
came out and told my story after Jermaine died.
Uh-huh.
I will never give him the honor of calling him God's righteousness because that's not what he was.
Yeah.
That's what Tazadakin means.
Right.
Um, Go back and look at that video. I encourage y'all to, and I'm not going to dishonor or disrespect my mom in any kind of way. I love you, even though you're saying what you're saying in the commentary. But I encourage y'all to go back and watch that first video I did on this topic. Look at how many people, how many women, how many brothers, how many sisters are in that. Isn't it hundreds at this point? Thousands of people were
Yeah.
on that video saying, "Me too, sis. I remember that. That's what happened. This what happened to my daughter. I saw the abuse. We were all there when he married those 12-year-old girls and called it a holy women. Were we not?
Right.
Were we all not there celebrating? I'm just asking. Did
Yeah.
these things happen or not? Right? So look at how many people said, I remember me too. This is what happened to me too. So I'm not here, like you said, by myself on a microphone. I'm not gaining anything from this. I'm not getting any money from this. I'm telling my true story of what happened. It's the truth. It is what it is. It's the truth. And sometimes you will get separated from your family. You will have family who is stuck in there mentally. Who they may be out the building, out the church 10, 15, 20 years. I'm gonna answer that question in a second. Somebody asked if I'm Christian.
Hmm.
Um, but you may have family who mentally can't get out of the cult for all the reasons you previously stated, where it's psychological, it's spiritual, it's a bondage that some people just cannot break. And sometimes it's by choice, they don't want to. But you have to be willing to say, like, this is not for me. My kids aren't safe here. I have to do what's best for my well-being and for my family. And if I want to save my son, or if I want to save my daughter, like, I have to walk out of here, regardless of who you lose in the process.
Right.
So, I'm just showing you guys real life example. Like, me and my mom are not on good terms because she will ride or die for this church till the whole thing burns up. But that's not gonna stop me from getting on here and telling y'all the truth, because I want somebody to see this and say, if they can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have different types of testimonies. There was a sister, I brought this up earlier. I told you before we went live. There's a sister named Yahalama, not the one in Philly. There was one in Orlando
Hmm.
that I brought in that Tazadakia took as a sex slave. Forget wife, because he told her one time. He said, "Do you think that you're my wife because we have sex?" He asked her that, and she
See?
was confused. She was like, yeah," and he was like, "That's not how it works." And it was so much manipulation, and that psychological cult indoctrination was put really hard on her, because she got the one-on-one time with him, like my cousin too. She got one-on-one time with Tazadaki. I don't know what he did to her, but there's people that get it harder. Me, the sisters, brothers, people that dealt closely with Tazadaki, people in New York, as opposed to people in another city that wasn't dealing with how had no headquarters function. We probably didn't have as much indoctrination. Like Philly, I know is the second biggest church. That's like top two. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are die hard. There's families that all come in. Um, and then there's families that leave altogether. Then there's reasons for this. Tazadaki said in 2012 that this was going to be the year of the Israelites. What does that mean? He's very vague about things too. So that way, when it doesn't happen, then he can go off and say, "Well, you don't know. Something did happen. Like, what happened? We were supposed to see Israelites, which is supposed to be affiliated with the ICGJC everywhere. I see the IUIC is growing past y'all. Sakari, which is a goddamn Hebrew Israelite gang or something, them cats are growing. They're actually going out there debating, not scared to talk to people one-on-one, not hiding like these cats are hiding.
Hmm.
They Tazadaki got recorded by some dude, a former member in Baltimore, and got questioned. He didn't know he was being recorded, so he was acting like his regular self.
Hmm.
Poop stain Jermaine is what I call him. This cat was saying, my prophecy of the H1N1 vaccine was that the vaccine was going to kill millions of people, but they didn't release the vaccine. So that's what happened. See, you need to do your research. But if your prophecy says that and he says, my prophecy, not God's prophecy. If your
Right.
prophecy says that the H1N1 vaccine was going to kill millions and then it doesn't get released, how is that an excuse for why the prophecy didn't come to pass? You said that the vaccine would be released and then it would kill millions. And his excuse for it not, being released was that it wasn't released because too many people knew about it. That right there is your brain
That's a
starts to.
false prophet. That's the definition of a false prophet. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
how do you reconcile the fact that you're supposed to be following a man who's sent by God, and yet he is giving you all these false, what's called a disconfirmed expectancy? In psychology, a failed prophecy is called a disconfirmed expectancy. You expect something to happen, it's disconfirmed. Now you get cognitive dissonance, and your brain starts to malfunction a little bit when you start to think about these things. And that's why they do selective thinking in order to kind of get around it and not have to deal with it mentally. Just, oh no, but
Hmm.
and yeah, with Ariya's here, the 12, but what about all the false prophecies and all the red flags? The fact that Tazadaki is wearing $1,000 Prada shoes, but you got leaks all over the bathroom in headquarters. You got vans that need to be pushed out of parking spots. Like how ridiculous do these guys look pushing the damn
And
van,
homeless.
you
How many
know?
people in the church are homeless? Can't even feed their kids and I mean, okay, because you brought up, Jermaine. So just two things on
Hold
him.
up.
My first thing was that what with that is, why didn't he prophesy about COVID? Why didn't he say that COVID was going to take him out of here? Where was
Right.
that prophecy? When did we learn? When? I never heard it. It never got taught. And why didn't he see that? My second thing is, with him, why didn't more people get upset when all of us stood there in that stadium or whatever it was, and he walked his ass on stage with that bedazzled outfit and said he was the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Where was the outrage? Where was the brothers were standing up clapping and crying. They were crying
Mhm.
as he was taking people wives, and I'm not making this up. The stories are all over. Check the comments, check the chats. He literally was taking people wives, walking up to people wives and saying, "Yeah, you with me now."
Right. Right. Yeah,
That's the
he's
Holy Spirit.
man, there's so many things like, and he supposedly went to Mount Sinai, which in one DVD he says that Paul went to Saudi Arabia to speak to God on the mountain, and then all of a sudden now the mountain of God is in Egypt. Which one is it? It doesn't make sense. I mean, and he's very, I mean, this is supposed to be the man endowed, or just embodied by the Holy Spirit or whatever, the embodiment of the Holy Spirit on earth. And he doesn't even speak well. Like there's like, why are you not speaking Spanish fluently or other language in order to bring in the tribes? Why are you not doing unit work? Everybody else does the work. This is like this is exactly how a cult functions. This is how Jeffrey Epstein ran his little girl cult. He would recruit
That's how they all do it.
other girls to recruit other girls, and everybody is working towards the one leader, the one man, and he kicks back and waxes fat and buys Prada shoes. And guess what? He pled guilty. He pled guilty. He made a doll. Like this cat was doing
He
so.
straight. That's my thing. If we, I mean, I never profess to be. I'm not. I never profess myself to be bigger than what I am. Like just, a woman and a sister. But if we read in the same book, that's pure idolatry. Blaspheming the Holy Spirit is the only sin that you can't be forgiven from. I'm not a Christian. I follow, the Most High. I'm not in nobody religion, nobody man made anything. I just read my text. I do my history. I do my studies. I want to get to the bottom of the truth. That's what I believe in. That's what I follow. That's my whole belief. But if we all read in the same book, don't it say in Ezekiel that the punishment of the prophet is also going to be the punishment of the people that follow him? So if this a false prophet and we have countless testimonies of him saying things that didn't come to pass, and then you got people blindly still following him, and he's in a graveyard as we speak. I'm sorry, not a graveyard. He's wrapped up somewhere in a ditch. Nobody can find him because he didn't even have a funeral. He
Right.
got disrespected so bad in his death, his body wasn't even allowed to be identified. That's y'all Holy Spirit. We just asking questions. So that means he got taken out of here during one of the worst pandemics, you could call it a plague, that
Mm-hmm.
ever hit this planet, according to what everybody said about, you know, COVID.
Right.
And people still blindly following him. Are we still buying his DVDs to listen to his voice? Isn't he dead?
Yeah. Right, right. They're all waiting for the next step. And if you look at the Antichrist Unit's channel, it's been 4 years. They have done nothing. They've done nothing. And now all of a sudden there's this desperation move to kind of like rebrand or something and put themselves back out there as something. And they're trying to use us as former members to kind of lift themselves up by putting us down, and all they need to do is just go out there and preach the love of God, preach the gospel. But no, your main thing, your main, teachings revolve around us, former members, of how we're so evil. And you want to put out, stuff that's public records, but people's jail records, which is like, also, this is also, we are products of the ICGJC. So the things that we do, after the cult, sometimes might be the after effects of being in a cult. Some people are literally
Exactly.
mentally, like, we need help. A lot of us need psychological help, and there's nothing wrong with seeking that. You know, there's yeah, what Cena has done and what she's doing is very powerful. We definitely need to keep in touch in the future because there's a lot of sisters that hit me up and they don't really want to talk to me as a brother, and all of that. And plus, my channel is definitely a different type of channel. I don't really try to preach too much the gospel or the Bible. I value the Bible very highly. The Bible is probably the greatest book ever written. I have to say that because it's just the most sold book, and there's a lot of stuff that's valuable in there. But there's people that come out and they're still Hebrew Israelites or they're still Bible believers, and they just want to talk to me and maybe have me refer them to somebody else. And I think you would be one of the perfect people that I can refer some, especially sisters to, because I can only do so much. But I definitely want to set something up where it's some type of network that's available for former members of not just this cult, but different cults. Because I
Yeah,
and we understand this stuff. Like this is what I
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and I just, if it's okay, I want to or if it's all right with you, I think it would be helpful to just talk about like life outside of there. Like I don't know if you want me to go into like how I left or
Yeah,
anything else you want me to, because I know that question comes up like what's next, how do you move forward? Because like you said, when you're locked in and that becomes your world, that becomes the only social circle you have, the only family you have, it
yeah,
is it could drive some people insane to walk out, and then you're
yeah,
starting from scratch. And it's some people are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s starting from scratch, right? Because you didn't gave all of your years to this organization that really could care less about you. So if you want to talk about that,
well, let's get there because I don't know how much time you have. We started late, so I want to definitely.
I'm good.
Oh,
I cleared the evening, the night to talk to you about this.
perfect, perfect. So I remember you were talking about like let's jump to 12 years old. Um, is there maybe a secret doctrine behind the scenes that people, in the cult publicly will say one thing, but behind the scenes they'll tell you at 12 years old, this is the age for sisters to that they can be wed. Please tell me something about that. That's weird. That's a
Okay.
thing that I
Um,
behind the publicly they'll be like 18 years old, yeah, this and that. But I've heard the doctrine 12 years old, or when a girl has her menstrual cycle, she's ready to bear seed, and God did that. So God is the one that tells you the age of consent or whatever you want to call it. What was that
well,
like
first,
as a young
oh,
went through those changes? What they consider now a young woman. You know, um,
let's be honest. They groom and teach you that from the moment you come in there as a young girl. I don't care if you're born into it. You'll be three hearing, well, a woman is supposed to be a wife, supposed to be submissive. I'm talking my experience. I don't know what them folks is in there doing now. I'm just saying from what I went through. It's a consistent grooming. So from probably not, like I said, I came in at 9. So from the moment we went in until 12 hit, that was always, I actually got told at that age I had to lose weight so I could be a wife. So someone would love me. We talking 9, 10, 11. If my family is watching this and y'all could back me up because some of y'all heard it, you know, the witnesses are always appreciated in the comments.
right,
Um in the chat. So that was in my head. A lot of body shaming, a lot of emotional manipulation. And that's the thought process. Your value as a woman is what you can give to one of these quote unquote Israelite men of God. But in retrospect, if we really thinking about it, again, that we all reading the same book, it says that a man that don't take care of his house is an infidel. So now I'm looking back on it, and I was being prepared to be a wife to somebody at 12. Not only was I being prepared, Raawban actually was going to make the transaction and send me to another state at 13 to marry a grown ass man that was in his 30s.
wow,
I'm not telling y'all nothing that's hypothetical.
wow,
You may not be talking to me right now if he was successful in that, because he did try. He did.
wow. That is, man. I mean, when it
Thank you.
comes to
Ashton
that,
in the comments said they called her fat. Right. At 11. Right.
Ashton Stowe. Okay, I see that. So that that's definitely something that a 12-year-old shouldn't be exposed to anything like that at all. There's development, there's a process. When you look at child development, you can't expose them. And this is my problem with, my kids and social media. I try to stay on top of that, TikTok and everything. It's like there's too much being exposed too early. We live in a technology age where it's like it's kind of difficult to deal with that. And it's like everything is different now. People, my childhood wasn't really like this, especially with the phone, camera phones, and all of that. Like it was a whole different thing, and everybody is now kind of going through their own psychological issues because I don't think that the we as people, human species, we weren't really quite ready for where we're at with technology, So we're
Mm-hmm.
logically cope and deal with everything, all this mass information and just instant gratification. That's anything you want to see on your phone, just boom, and 15 seconds. And people have short attention spans now. All you see is like everybody wants to watch shorts now. Nobody wants to sit down and watch a long video like this, unless
Mm-hmm.
this. I knew this was going to be great. So appreciate everybody for coming through. And Wanda, appreciate you for coming through. I don't even. I mean,
That's my mom.
she not. Break, I don't know. If she's
That's my
breaking
mom.
breaking a rule
Can,
coming on.
can you hear me?
Yeah, is she breaking? Yes, your mom. Yeah, yeah. I know.
Mm-hmm.
She's breaking a rule coming in here right now, or she's not in the.
Probably.
She's not in the
Probably.
call. Okay, so welcome. I welcome you, and everybody, please, take it easy on her. Because there's.
Yeah. Take it
But
easy.
I know people are gonna respond. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of anger, and justly, towards Tazadakia. And sometimes it gets aimed at whoever represents this place right now, because Tazadakia is dead. And, he still comes up because of people like, that are still in the cult. They keep him alive. So he's still kind of out there alive, and we still have to mention him and speak about everything that, he did wrong. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's relevant. Right now, we're talking about your life coming up from 9 years old, coming into this place, 1999 or something like that. I think you said right before.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, 12 years old. This is around it. It sounds like around the time when in '03 when Tazadakia started kind of putting his grip on the church. He came out as the comforter. He was changing the tithes to the 20%. He changed the doctrine of Yahweh being Jesus Christ now. He changed the everything, the salute, the order. It became more, definitely, you saw the grip being put on. The cult manipulation got way stronger.
Way strong.
Yeah. And he was trying
Yeah.
to separate himself or the congregation, the cult, from the other Black Hebrew Israelite or Hebrew Israelite cults or groups that kind of all sounded the same, anyways. And it was a very manipulative and intelligent, I'll say, way to separate it. Because I think for some, just to kind of give him some credit for kind of getting more in line with what the scripture says, I think, and it was like, man, I look at it now and I'm like, he was actually kind of, breaking stuff down accurately. Whereas, like, I look at what Sakari or GMS or these other groups teach, and they'll say like Jesus Christ is a reincarnation of King Solomon or Adam or something like that. And it's like that was literally a teaching back then. And Tazadakia cleaned that up. And now they started looking more Christian and more appealing. And he even told us one time, as brothers that go out, leading the camps and doing unit work, he said, I better not hear any of y'all sounding like the KKK. So he was trying to focus more on bringing in people through Jesus Christ and through the love. But this place has now turned into the kind of like the joke of the Hebrew Israelite community, and they fell from grace. The doors were closed for a while. I hear now they're just doing. I mean, maybe they changed it, but they were doing live classes through some type of feed for a while. And where are they now? I mean, they seem pretty like I didn't even want to respond to what some of these cats were saying, because they don't even deserve a response for every little thing. It's like I'm not even at that level anymore. I don't even really pay attention. I don't care. I forgot about them, and I'm living my life. That's where we're at.
Same.
Yeah, but there
Same.
was a time. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a time when this was my life, and I could not imagine myself being out of it until just over the years, little things here and there started making me feel like I don't even want to be here anymore. So
Exactly.
when did you start feeling like that? What was these? I know it's not just one thing, or maybe it is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is, but there might be one final straw. But to me, it was like a process over time. What were you going through? Like, besides, of course, you definitely were feeling some type of way when they were trying to damn groom you and prepare you as a child bride. Is really what that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah. See,
probably
this is the part. This is the part they get upset with me, and I could give a damn. Y'all know I don't care because I'm gonna just tell it. See, my experience from two things that made me say this is not what they're saying it is. One, y'all knew the apostles. Okay, y'all knew the ones that come out at the quote unquote high holy days in all their glory and glamour, and it's all perfect, and we crying, and they playing the ram's horn and all of that. Y'all knew that. I saw these people behind the scenes, and
Right.
something in my ear started saying the life this person, the lives these people are living behind the scenes is not lining up with this book. Y'all
Right.
getting up here on Sabbath service saying one thing, saying how brothers supposed to be acting and husbands love your wives, but why are we going home and we don't have water or heat for a whole summer?
Right.
Why am I using gallons of water to flush my toilet?
Mm.
And you're leading the whole church, and I'm pregnant
Wow.
in
Wow.
this summertime. Why are we getting fleas in our house and you dip out and you come back but you getting up here on Saturday and you telling these brothers they need to take care of their household? It's not adding up. I'm confused. And so I started to see, and don't get me started on Jermaine
Right. Right.
and the way he used to pit brothers against each other and then say the Lord told him or God gave him some spiritual breakdown. No, you just manipulated that information out. That brother who was so afraid of you, he'll piss himself if he walk in the room and you say hello to him and you got that information out of him and then you used it to manipulate the next brother and then said, God gave it to you. Wait, something is wrong. What we doing? And because I was in the position I was as the daughter of somebody who was quote unquote at the time a leader of the church, I also saw a lot of the families that y'all considered what was the special name they had for like some of the families that his favorites, the ones that would sit in the front all the time at Passover. He had his favorite, whatever the name was.
Yeah.
But the ones you guys consider like the holy ones or the special family or whatever, like I was friends with these folks, so I saw what it was behind the scenes. And so what made me start to open my eyes was what he was doing to the young girls. A lot of them young girls that some of y'all can't find to this day were my best friends.
Right.
So I saw, we would be together for the summertime. We would be going to the summer picnics. Y'all remember them picnics where we would get up there and dance? I know y'all remember. And we would go up there and do the choreography, and and then slowly you would start to see the girls disappearing. Why y'all think that was?
Hmm.
Were we up there giving performances at the summer picnic because we were supporting our nation? Or were we performing so that the brothers could pick and choose which 15-year-old they wanted this year? I'm just asking questions.
Right. And he was getting women from all over. He had at least 2 wives in Orlando that I know of, and I was in contact with both of them. And what happens? They get put out. He had very low self esteem. He was accusing these sisters of things that they were never even doing. You know,
Exactly that.
he was.
Exactly that.
I think that because all the evil that he was doing started getting to him mentally, and people like that start assuming everybody else is evil or people are onto him, and he's putting people out because he thinks that they're working with the feds. Till this day they think that I've worked with the feds. I had no information to work with the feds at all. And like, that this doesn't even make sense. Like, why would how could that even happen if you were not doing something wrong? Like, what are you scared about,
Exactly.
so
Exactly. And I truly believe that is why I believe this. Now, you might say something different, but I truly believe the Most High took him out of here with COVID in the most embarrassing, humiliating way he possibly could, because he was doing so much. This is just the stuff we
hmm,
know about. What was he doing that we never saw? Y'all, what was he really doing in the mansions that he had in Florida? What was he really doing?
there you go.
Locking girls up, people crawling on the floor,
Yeah.
like dog. Like, what was he really doing? Have anybody ever found Matanaya and the other girl that he was calling holy women? Do y'all know where they are? Have y'all ever seen them since we all went to that wedding? For
Wow.
them two 12-year-old girls. I'm just asking.
Wow.
Has anybody seen them since we all was at that wedding?
He had another.
Am I lying? Because look at the comments. Everybody's saying, I remember that. I was right. We were all there.
Nisha, the mother of 5 of his kids, I believe. Nisha, man, she said a lot. I hope she's doing good too. I haven't heard from her.
Me too.
I could imagine dealing with that damn dragon in the house. What kind of stuff she had to go through, and she detailed a lot. Like, she wanted to take her life. That's how crazy life was, living with this crazy maniac that you don't know if he was believing some of his lies, or if he was just acting a part. but it seems like he just became so crazy. I'm sure he was probably. I've seen videos of him teaching where he looked like he was maybe
Right.
drunk.
Right.
He was probably medicating himself. I mean, and then he has diabetes. Like, how does the Holy Spirit have diabetes type two?
And can't, and
And
can't heal. And
it
can't heal.
right, he can't heal. And then he says that COVID is a man-made weapon. Right, that's one of his last teachings. He said, "This is a man-made weapon. We don't have to worry about that." The Bible does say that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. What does that mean? Prosper how? In death, isn't that what I mean? What is a weapon used for? To kill. So,
To kill. Exactly.
so that it killed Tazadakia, but they probably have this whole, it was the government or whatever. But it's like still, there should be nothing that you can do against God's chosen one. You can't touch God's chosen one, like Job, with the how do you call it, the hedge around
The
him.
hedge of protection.
It's supposed
Exactly.
to be protection. So like, yeah, this is and it's like poetic how he died. I can't knock you for believing that God took him out because it's like it's just so poetic. It was perfect.
It was
I,
perfect timing, and that's how you know who it was. It was perfect. It was perfect timing.
I
And
personally
and
have loved to see him locked up in a mug. I want to see a mug shot. I want to see him in orange jumpsuits. Just and to have him go through that
mm-mm.
game of 18 months. But
It
it
wasn't. That wasn't. Mm-mm, he didn't deserve that. He's where he ought to be, and I mean that.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, there's a lot of people that I don't have. I mean, I don't have any animosity towards anybody up in there except maybe one person, but that's still alive. At least alive. There's just one person I can't stand. But either way,
Yeah,
there's
I don't
there's
have
a lot.
animosity. I cry for the girls. I cry for the kids in there.
Yeah.
That's always been my story. That's always been my cry.
No.
I cry for the kid. You know why? Because the kids in there don't have a voice. I
Yeah.
still to this day haven't heard many people come out and tell that story. And I know to this day it's still going on. I see them manipulating the kids into thinking that's the truth because they getting them with the rap videos. My yacht's still up here pretending he rapping. I'm calling you out. I don't care.
Mm,
Um, I mean, come on, like it's the same song and dance. We've been doing this since how long? Since the 2000s. You promising kids they're gonna be superstars and rappers, but y'all paying to get on radio stations. Let's just be honest. I mean, let's
wow.
just tell the truth about what it is. They using y'all type money to get them rap videos. Go watch them last 5 videos. Where y'all think them cars came from? Where you
Yeah.
think them outfits came from?
Right. Right.
If I mean, we gotta just ask questions. I just after this, I'm praying that this, I'm hoping that this is a wake up call for somebody to just say, okay, let me start asking questions. That's where it starts. You asked me what was the trigger for me to start saying I shouldn't be here. It's
Yeah.
because I start asking questions. And that is the one action that we were never allowed to do as members of that church was ask questions.
You have to fear your own logical thoughts. Look at the question that Miss Jackson, Wanda Jackson asked. Who teaches you all now? This shows me that what you feel is, where am I gonna go? You're scared
Yes.
the place because you don't know what to do. You're emotionally attached to this place. The information control has got you with this place. You don't know where else who can trust. You're suspicious of everybody and everything. This is a horrible life to live up in there. You don't trust anybody. You might become schizophrenic, thinking that the government is out here trying to, like, you don't you can't even tell reality from what's fake. Really, that's the essence of schizophrenia. You can't tell reality from fake, what's not real, pretty much. And you got to get out of there as soon as possible. The sooner the better. It'll make it easier on your mind, but you have to have, it's good to have a support. And look, I mean, you're a perfect person to have a connection with, who can articulate perfectly exactly what you went through, what you had to do, uh, what were the issues coming in there, how you felt. You can relate to other sisters. You can remember. You can now say, "Listen, I'm here. Like what? We're here. Nothing has happened. I'm living great. I'm still with my family.
Me too.
Have my growing. I wanted to get my girls out of there. My
Yes.
daughter, my oldest is 17 years old right now. I'm so happy that I don't have to worry about some scumbag old man drooling all, trying to get her all these brothers like vultures waiting until she turns a certain age. Yeah, I'm so happy that I don't have to.
Yes.
And who teaches me? Who do I learn? I learn from life. I learn from experiences. I have common sense. I trust my conscience. I trust my natural instincts. My subconscious mind would tell me something's wrong here, and then I would tell myself, no, 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 that's the devil in my head. That's destroying your own natural thoughts. You
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. Common sense is like now you're scared of yourself, and now what do you hear in your mind is Tazdakia or whatever, and yeah, you tell yourself that something's wrong with you when really what you have to start looking at is everybody else in the leadership and all of that. Something's wrong with them. They failed all of us. We did what we needed to do. I did what I needed to do up in there. I was a faithful brother, paid my tithes, did unit work. Was raised up, and they failed us. They failed us. There's so many veterans that have left, and look at all the people in the comment section. I think there's more unbelievers now than, or former members.
Ever before.
Yeah, I think we're
More than
about
ever.
the current members in a minute. Jeez.
Right. And I'm not even going to call us unbelievers if that's what they, I'm not
Right.
even going to do that. Cause it's like, what are you calling me an unbeliever in?
Right.
They've proven time again, like you just said,
And
some
unbelievers
brother who,
not get being the comforter. Let's say that. But yeah, sorry.
yeah, like some brother who don't have no steady job, he don't have no career, he not taking care. But you're gonna tell these young girls that she can't go to college. That was my whole thing. Oh, you can't, oh no, you gotta become a wife and have 5, 6, 7 kids to make sure that you get on stamps and welfare to take care of him. Why?
Mhm.
Book, chapter, verse, where does it say that? Where's that
Right.
scripture?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that was taught? And it's just they teach it, but they don't live it. And when you start asking that question, why is it not lining up with what these people are saying? Okay, well, let me research what they're actually saying. Let me go read that for myself. Is that what that's talking about? Like when you start doing that,
Yeah.
you come up, the veil comes off your, like, the blindfold comes off your eyes.
And you put the power back in your hands. All the power that these people have is the power of the people. It's us. We give them the power. They have no power. And when you start putting the power back in your hands, when you start asking them questions, why can't they be more transparent about where the money goes? Because now I hear there's an issue with Saint Basil. He's got caught. He has no rank now. Why doesn't he have rank? Do y'all know people that are at the bottom or that are not in the high ranks? From what I've heard, he was stealing money too. Why does he have to steal money if this church is so blessed and everybody's just getting blessed left and right? Why is there a brother in Orlando that was doing the Home Depot scheme? I'm about to expose him in a minute since
Mm,
they want to expose other people. Why is there a brother in Orlando who's a chief priest and his rank was never changed? His name is Magun. His I'm gonna put him out there, but this is coming out. Kendall Lafayette in Orlando, Magun. Your Home Depot scheme was exposed. I got your mugshot, two of them. I got your warrant, and I got the whole thing. I'm putting you out there since they want to put other people out. It's gonna come
mm-hmm.
guys doing stealing $12,000 worth of merchandise, grand theft. I mean, these are current members, man. And then Tazadaki, the main damn demon, he was stealing, and he pled guilty, and he died on April Fool's Day. He's dead.
How about that? Exactly. And not coming back. And let's be clear, not coming back.
He's not coming back. Like, and then the thing, look at how their mind works. Because before he died, he said, I gotta take you to Israel. So I'm definitely gonna, you know, and just to say this before I go there, the reason why they try to say, oh, he was talking about like how he was gonna go, like he was gonna die. What he was talking about was him going away to jail. Not that he was gonna die. They try to switch that up to say, well, you see, he was saying that he's gonna go away. Yeah, because he knew he was gonna go to jail. He didn't know he was gonna die. He never made that clear. Why is everything so vague? Like, oh yeah, he's kind of alluded to it. And it's like, why couldn't he say, listen, God told me I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna come back. Don't worry. None of that happened. Everything has to be kind of like, this is like, oh wait, like it's everything's so secret
Right. And
or
unclear. It's all
unclear.
unclear. Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's not how it works. And I don't believe you. And but anyways, he said, oh, I got to bring you guys to Israel. I got to take you to Israel. So of course, this is not the end. This was outside of the courtroom, the courthouse, and then he dies. So their brain works like this. Well, how do I reconcile? Oh, he was supposed to take us to Israel. He's dead. Oh, I got it. He's coming back to life. That's the only other way. It's common. Saint Basil said it's common sense that he has to come back to life because we have to be taken to Israel. Like, oh my
Mhm.
God. Their conclusion has to be met no matter what is in the way. Their
Wait,
conclusion.
wait, 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 wait. They're going to Israel walking. Remember that? Aren't they
Oh,
walking?
that's what they were saying. Now they probably want to deny and just kind of like be like, well, they didn't want to answer these questions. If we ask them straight up, is Tazadakia supposed to return from the dead? They're gonna be like, well, why is that so wrong? And it's like, no, no, no. Answer the question. Is he gonna return from the dead? Be real about what you're saying and how long is this gonna happen. Arya's gonna die if he's not dead yet, which I heard that he's not. False alarm. He's gonna die soon. Shar is gonna go. This is gonna happen. This is life. This is the only thing that's promised in life is death. They're constantly threatening us with, "Oh, you're gonna die. You unplugged from the source, which the source is Jesus
Mm,
Christ, and Jesus Christ is life. So you guys are gonna die." And it's like, this is what Chief Priest or whatever Shalama, part of the Antichrist unit, said, threatening us with death. So death is a bad thing. All right, that's how they make it seem. We're gonna die.
right,
Tazadaki is dead. Why is that not a bad thing? No, but see, that's different. Their logic is not consistent. They have double standards constantly, and then when it hits them in their face, they have another reason. No, see, it has to be explained a different way, but it's like, that
mm-mm,
sense.
mm-mm.
So who's
That's
teaching
that's
us?
circles. That's word salad. That's what that is.
Yeah, straight up.
Mm-mm.
Like, so over the years, you pretty much had to see this from a sister's point of view. I mean, a young girl is being, I could never put my kids in
It
dark.
was it was it was one of the describe it. I don't have the words to describe the level of trauma. Yes, I've been in therapy. I'm in therapy as we speak. Um
This is
my
therapy.
other
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, like yeah. I had, of course, once I got older and kind of went back with my family that I was basically torn from, like I had the support of my family. I have that now. I did have my, well, she's gonna get real upset because she in here. But basically I had a mother who took me in,
Mhm.
right? So it was Raawban married a lot of women, but I'm thankful for this one that he married because, she was a big reason why my mindset didn't break while I was in there, and really like took me under her wing. And y'all probably saw her in the chat earlier. But just support systems like that were the thing, thank the most high, were the thing that kept me moving through. Because if not, yes, the church would have broke me. It didn't, but it could have.
Yeah, I see you. You're strong, definitely. You're an example of how this cult is completely wrong about what's supposed to happen to us. We're living proof of these guys being liars, just pure liars. We're good, man,
We're
and we're
good.
here to talk about it. And for me, the hate, the anger, all that was there, that kind of died when Tazadakia died, I think. And I have no motivation to even address these people like that anymore. But I guess there's still some work to be done. I think the best response sometimes is no response, but this is not really a response to them. This is more just you telling your story, and this is to help people that are in there. So I keep that in mind. I try to get my mind off of trying to attack them or expose
Yeah,
people. Because I put
exactly.
out guns information, and brothers information of them getting arrested and all that. It's not so much to say ha ha ha. It's not really that. It's more of just to show how there's a difference between what they're saying and what's actually happening. And what's supposed to be happening is not current members that are supposed to be chosen by God and enlightened, doing Home Depot scams or stealing or robbing or doing, getting prostitutes. Some of these brothers getting arrested
Hmm.
for that, and
Hmm.
being a child trafficker like Zion, Myron Flakes, who I did a
Come on,
video.
let's talk about it. Come on, let's talk about that. I mean, that's all I'll say.
That's that's definitely on topic right now. There's a brother out here
Mm.
he was like a bishop in Orlando. Um, I saw a wanted poster of him in 2020, I believe. Yeah, and he was dealing with underage girls, and there was a whole sting set up,
Yep,
and
I saw it.
yeah, yeah, and he was identified like birthmarks and everything, man. That should
Yep.
not. known by this young girl? How did she know where you know, like that's not something
Trafficking, full
straight.
blown with
How did,
y'all, full blown in a garment. I mean, like, what are we doing? That's what I'm saying.
that's a
Men of
power.
God, how?
Actually,
Where?
they want young girls. They're so evil. They want the young girls so they can manipulate and mold them easier because they know their mind is not fully developed yet, and that's just evil as hell, man. So you
Yeah.
went through
I,
something like, I want you to definitely continue your story on that because there's a lot to cover. You see,
yeah, it's a lot. I mean, like I said, I saw plenty of girls, and I mean, oh, to this day, I wish that the what was it, the Taza detoxification station. I wish they would have did a segment on, and I know that's close to home. That's probably why they didn't, but that was what was missing. We need a conversation about what happened to these daughters, to these girls, to the no named ones that y'all still don't know where they are, or they now are my age, late 20s, early 30s, and sitting with 10, 11 kids, no education, no career, you know what I'm saying? No way to provide for themselves other than the government, which that's getting shut down. Like,
Mm,
y'all don't know if them benefits going to continue another year. Section 8 welfare, all that's gone. We stay in this presidency, all that's going to be gone in a minute. So, I mean, you setting them up for failure. And this is why I'm saying, where's the conversations around that, so that more of these daughters and families can come out and understand this ain't the truth. This is not your salvation, your soul. It is your soul on the line. If you keep deciding to follow something that has been proven to be blasphemy, has been proven to be filled with false prophets, trafficking, and all this other stuff we saying, you following that straight, what's the end result? You're going to destroy yourself and your whole family if you don't leave it alone,
right,
or find a way to like detach from it mentally. It's hard because it's a cult, and their whole goal, their whole purpose is to take over your mind so you don't have any control of your own mind anymore. That's the point. But
right.
you do have the ability and the power, as long as you're breathing, to say, I'm going to take my control back. I'm going to separate from this. It can be done. So I just feel like more conversations need to be had about it. So I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah, we could do this again too in the future. We got to keep in touch more. We both. I'm sure you have a very busy life. We work it out. We'll work it out. And just to address something like, okay, we're here talking about um things that were said that didn't happen, that have nothing to do with scriptures, and showing how that's wrong. And there's people in the message that don't know how to deal with that, and they want to go and run to scriptures because that's where they feel safe at, and they feel comfortable. They got some type of sanctuary or safe. They feel some type of safety in the scriptures. But it's like, well, there's scriptures that says the comforter shall abide with you forever, and now the man is dead. If you want to go to scriptures, there's things like that. We were actually bringing up scriptures. I mean, there's so many things that the comforter it himself, if that's the main thing. It's like they love the doctrine and they feel comfort in that, but then there's the stories that we have, and it's like, no, they don't want to deal with that. That's just hearsay,
Hmm.
not hearsay. There's video of Tazadaki saying all types of stuff, that's even not even related to scriptures. What scripture says that Tazadaki is going to die and then come back from the dead and take y'all to Israel on what, on foot through
On
the
foot.
ocean,
I mean,
cross
take it back. Where does it say Jermaine?
right?
Where's his name?
Right there you go. I should say that.
What?
But yeah, so I mean, we can do that, but not just to. I think this is just as powerful. Your testimonies and this setup. I usually do. Sometimes I'll do the laptop setup where I can show pictures and evidence and receipts or whatever. But it's like I knew that we didn't have to do that. This is powerful enough. Your word, it speaks volumes, and I know that people in here corroborate and can relate. And I just want to just shout out Glenda Sanders. She says, "My beautiful daughter, I love you and will always be here for you." Wow,
That's
power,
that's my mother that took me in. That's what I was talking about.
that's what you're talking about. Look at that, beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Love
shout
you
out
too.
to else, yeah, yeah. So yeah. If you want to get into um maybe that story or whatever, wherever you feel comfortable. If you want to talk about like your exodus, from this place and what started happening, maybe we could go there and then talk about your success afterwards, your afterlife.
Yeah. I'll talk about, let me ask her. Glenda, is it okay if I tell that story about, I mean, let's just keep it real, how you saved me. Let's just be honest. Let me know if it's okay, and I'll tell that. And then that kind of started the process of
Yeah.
me opening my eyes. And then when I had my son, my oldest son, Prince, that's what did it. I was like, it's absolutely no way I'm bringing up a baby in this. We have to get out.
She says
We
she's
have to go.
2007 and still here and doing well. That's great to
She,
see. Say yes,
a
please.
thousand, 1,000%. Okay. Okay. Well, let's go into it. So how is Prince? I don't know if he's asleep. I would actually bring him in here so y'all could see him, tell him to say hi. Prince, is he asleep? Okay, come here. I'm gonna have Prince come on because some of y'all remember him like this big. So if it's okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
and
Decide. Go
then
ahead.
and then I'll tell the story.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
You want to get on camera for 2 seconds? I know. You don't gotta say nothing. Just look. Some folks ain't seen you since you was like 3 months. They want to.
Some folks.
Come on. Ready?
Yo,
That's Prince.
what's up?
Yeah.
Alive and well,
What's up, Prince?
living his best life out of the church.
Right. Right. Good. Good.
That's
So.
my oldest. So when he came, I'm gonna back up and tell the story about Glenda.
Mhm.
But when he came, that's when my brain started saying we gotta go. Yeah, we have to get out of here. So okay, I'll fast forward a little bit past the 12. So what happened what happened at the 12? Glenda was the one who told Raawban, we're not doing it. You not sending her nowhere with no person, with no man. She actually stopped it.
Right.
I don't know if y'all know that or if that's like public knowledge, but she's the one who told him absolutely not. You're gonna let her go and finish. I was in seventh grade, right, mom? Um,
Seven.
she was the one
Great.
that said, because he slipped up and told her, but thank the Most High he did, because she said absolutely not. You're gonna let her finish
Right.
school, let her be a kid. She's a teen, she's a preteen. So she stopped it, and at that point she stepped in and started. You're right, I was 13, right? She
Mm.
stepped in and started pulling me a lot more. Like, I remember her teaching me, this is how a woman is supposed to take care of herself. Like, this is how hygiene and hair, and this is how you dress appropriately. And she really quieted all the voices that kept saying my body, something was wrong with my body, because it wasn't. I was a kid. And she basically rebuilt my confidence, basically from
Right.
nothing, from absolutely nothing. And she stopped him from sending me to Baltimore, right, with that man who I think was in his late 30s, early 30s, something like that. And I was 13. And she started just teaching me. She was a mother. She stepped in and was a mother, hands down. And to this day, like, we never stopped communicating. Even after she left, we talked. It's not a year. What did we say last time? It's not a year that's gone by that I haven't. That's my parent. You know what I mean? And that's not no disrespect to my birth mom. My mom knows I love her. I'm just not gonna never agree with what you believe about this cult. But I gotta give, respect. Honor your father and mother. Glenda's my mother too. And that's just what it is. She took me in, she raised me with her kids. Um, and to this day we just had I just spent the week with her over New Year's. I just came from over there, and it's just it was a blessing because it saved my life. I think without her, I easily would have been one of those sisters that y'all never heard from again, or disappeared somewhere, or was trafficked, or was so broken in her spirit that I allowed some man to put 5, 6, 7, 10 babies on me before I even thought about college. Easily that would have been me. And because of her, that's not me. I'm now, I moved out of state. I have my own business. I'm in school for my nursing degree, like,
Yeah.
because of the mother that she stepped in to be. And that's the power of having somebody in that church that will protect you and take you under your wing. When I had Prince, she was at the hospital. Like when I gave birth as a, what was I, 18, 17, she was there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, having kids at an early age is one of the major ways that people get into poverty. Actually, young teenage pregnancies is hardest. Especially if it's a single parent household and all of that. This place encourages that. They encourage getting government assistance. They actually encourage that. They don't teach any money management, financial management, investing,
None.
proper becoming your own entrepreneur. They actually want you to bring your ideas to them, so they can take your idea, and they tell you, like I used to sell oils at some point, trying to make some little side money while I was in there. Egyptian musk, frankincense, and myrrh, all that stuff. I was selling it. And then it was told that you can't do that. We're making merchandise of God's people. And it's like, as if we don't have the wherewithal to say, I want to purchase this myself. And here is a easy business transaction. Nobody's making merchandise. If anything, the only person that was doing that, that's what it was. He didn't want the money going anywhere else but him.
Nope.
Now the orders go out. No, you can't make merchandise of God's people. You can't sell nothing. Um, this
But
place
he
is
was selling T-shirts and bread at Passover,
and post
like and
and
posters and
dolls
dolls at the Passover. So you see what I'm saying? That's hypocritical. That's
and
just crazy.
figure, a Ninja Turtle action figure that would say whatever the hell. And what do you think was gonna happen with that doll? People were going to worship that thing. They were going to make sure nobody touched it and have it hermetically sealed in some type of package, like a damn Star Wars, collectible or something. Where yeah, they're gonna tell their kids, don't touch that. And now you're gonna start literally worshiping an idol, and maybe even fearing that, oh, can he, is that Tazadaki? Like that.
Right. Is he
Um,
watching through the doll and all of that crazy?
oh, that's a
Ugh.
scheme. That's a scheme to get to the kids too, so the kids could see
Ugh.
that, feel some type of way, growing up looking at this doll, at home, and now Tazadaki's in your house. Like that's crazy. Yeah, I'm glad you had that strong support though, because unfortunately, it seems like your mother was not strong enough or in her right mind to veer you in the right direction, and just kind of going along with the cult, which is sad when you have somebody who's supposed to be looking after you get to that, and it's like you were saved from that. That's great. That's great. I've never,
Yeah.
I've never.
And one thing, like, just I'm not I want my mom to wake up, and I know you're watching this, mom. Like, I want you to wake up. Listen to all of these people telling you that this is our collective experience. Like, we didn't have a powwow meeting before this. This is what we all went through. Um, but my thing with my mom is, she had her upbringing, which led her to this. She was preyed on
Mm,
by a predator who saw all the issues she had, and he just, catapulted it. And then she went along with it. So that's kind of like how we got here. And still going along with it is where the problem lies. And it's not gonna stop me from talking. Like you said, y'all could tell a lot of y'all knew me since childhood. Y'all know my personality. Like nothing's gonna shut me up. So it is what it is.
that's great. I love that about you. That it's like you don't, because they shut you up in there. The women are just shut down, woman. There were
Mm,
brothers. There was brothers that used to really disrespect their wives, man, and just screaming on them like children. So I know a lot of these women. Maybe your mother felt powerless, and they
yep,
would
for
things like
sure.
the women are pretty much shut down. They're treated and subjected, and there's women that love that, you know, and I understand that dynamic, in a marriage. Some women like, they like to be whatever, and that's fine as long as everybody's doing right. It's like there's fine with having that, as long as everybody's okay with it, of course, and everybody's doing right and has everybody's good interest in mind. And the brothers don't realize, the husbands don't realize that the interest in mind is just money. It's literally profit, interest. It's Tazadaki trying to get everything that he could and trying to use you and record your counsels and get as much information from you. He wants to see you cry and counsel. Now he knows he got you. And
Mm-hmm.
all these things. So now he has all this dirt on you and all of that. And it's like you feel powerless now. And it's like that's exactly how she's coming off right now, Wanda. I'm sorry, you're coming off like somebody that just doesn't know what to do, outside of this place, and that's very sad because you're powerless, right? You sound. It sounds like you're powerless, and I can relate to that, and I can see that there's people in there that
We all been
I
there,
would
all of us.
I would try to talk to people that were still in there. I was on a rampage for a while, and just like sending I was like, people were probably like, "This guy's crazy," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm literally like trying to send messages to everybody." And there was one brother that was already out because he was put out, who didn't want to do any unit work at all. He just wanted to call himself an Israelite. And when I told him, I'm like, "Yo, we got to analyze everything that Tazadakia has said to us, reanalyze it, and look at it, see whether it's true."
Hmm.
Because there's a bunch of stuff that I'm finding out now from baby mom, from
Yep.
former members, and that this cat is off. And he was like, "Well, what are we gonna do about the Passover? How are we gonna celebrate it if we can't have a holy convocation? What are we gonna do?" And I'm like, "Wow, like that's you see how their minds work. It's like they don't know how to figure their way out of this, and it's a process, And I think that the fear, that emotional control that they put over you, it has to you have to power through that and
Yep.
have the courage. It's very powerful. It's weaker to stay in there. They think it's a power move to stay faithful and loyal, like a loyal dog to this place that you're being mistreated, and you just want to be loyal like an abused woman. That doesn't make you any better than us because we left and now they want to get on us. Look, you just left. You're a backstabber. And it's like remaining in a relationship where you're just getting constantly abused, and it's a circular, thing. It's like you get abused and then you feel better and they apologize and then you get abused again, and it's like it's a continual cycle. And until you break that cycle and get the power back in your life, it's so much better
Absolutely.
afterwards. It's like,
And
you know,
so much better. Let me tell
yeah.
that part because you asked me that. I don't know how long you want me to, or you want to wrap this up a certain time, or
No,
I want to be
we.
able.
I
Okay.
mean, yeah. I mean, before midnight, I'll say it's 11:15. Well, you're in Philly, so or.
Okay. No, no. I'm in Georgia.
Oh, okay. That's right. What am I talking about? You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing about leaving there, y'all, you can have money. Your money stop looking funny, and you can do
Yeah.
things.
Power.
Yeah. So, to tell that story, so like, what started the process of me? Like I said, once Prince was coming, I started thinking about, is this where I want to raise my child? Knowing what I went through, and we didn't even cover, you can't even cover half of the things I saw in a live stream. That would take us, you would have to make a whole show just about it. But just thinking through like what I experienced, I asked myself, do I want my child to go through this? And then knowing he was a boy, so how quick was they going to push him to go to Hebrew Academy? How quickly would they be telling him this is how you treat women and demean women and dog women out? I mean, he'd have been getting that message at what, 4, 3?
Hmm.
I couldn't do it. And so that's what started changing my mindset. And I'll be honest, Jermaine was one of the biggest reasons I started questioning, because a lot of, just like you said, he got to a point where I think he got psychotic. I think he
Yeah.
started going through a lot of like psychotic episodes, and it showed, and it was getting out of control. And I just, something was like, this is not why. I remember somebody said in the comments that day I popped up that one day and then I like never came back. I'm gonna tell you exactly what was going through my head that day. I remember coming, it was a Sabbath service, it was a Saturday. Yeah, it was a Saturday. You know how you have to turn your phone in the front? I turned my phone in, went through all that, got searched or whatever, and I remember sitting in the seat, and my brain literally went, "Why am I here?
Yeah.
What am I do? Like, why am I? What am I doing? Why am I here?" And I can't even remember if I waited to the end or whatever it was, but I just got up, got my phone, walked out, and I never came back, because it had gotten to a point where it was like, this is the complete opposite of what these people are saying this is. There is no truth in this, not 1 ounce. Why do they call it the truth?
Right.
Everything in here is destroying people, destroying spirits, destroying families.
Yeah.
Nobody can prosper. How many homeless people did we know who was coming to that church but making it work to get to the church every week, and we're homeless, sleeping on benches? Like, none
Yeah.
of it made sense anymore. And my mind, I think it was the real Holy Spirit saying to me, like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you? And I walked out and I never came back. And I never told anybody. I never communicated it because y'all already know how that would have went. But I just walked out and I never came back.
The dividing of the families is very it hurts. It hurt me to see my cousin just kind of ignore me, and then ignore my kids at weddings. Like, I saw her at a wedding, and it was like we weren't even there. And then my kids couldn't hang out with her kids. We were always at each other's birthday parties. So, because I see Wanda saying that you won't let her talk to the kids, but it's like,
Let me just respond. Let me just say this publicly for everyone who was there 2 weeks ago. What was it, 2 weeks ago? No. I just said New Year's, right? We're going into the end of January. The week of New Year's, I was in Philadelphia. I came to my mother's house twice. She won't tell y'all that. I sat outside her door with the children in the car for her to come to the car to see the kids. She didn't want to see the kids. She wanted to sleep because she had work. Tell them the real story. I let you
oh,
see the kids. You don't want to be bothered. Let's just be honest. I know you
oh,
want to put me down because you want to discredit me or whatever, but let's just
so,
be honest. That's what happened. So come on. All right,
but
I'm sorry. Please continue.
this is like, I wonder if, like, do you believe your lies? Because there's people in there that are believing their own lies. It's called self-deception. I was doing that. I remember. I was like putting off things and believing lies and creating memories that weren't even there, and erasing memories that were, detrimental, or would make me feel some type of way, because now your brain starts to deal with it. So it's like, let me forget about that. So that's weird. That's like, wow, what? How are you?
Am I lying? I mean, my other mother is in this comment. She could tell you. I went over to her house with children in the car outside the front door, 10 steps from the front
Yeah,
door.
I mean, that's crazy that would be said, knowing that would respond to that immediately. It's like, why would she say that? That's weird.
No need to lie. I have no need to lie.
Yeah, but if, let's say you were doing that, we know that you're not. You just cleared the air. If you were doing that, that's wrong, right, Wanda? Okay, well, guess what? The cult does that. They divide families. They were laughing, the Antichrist unit at the time, because now that people get moved around all the time. So I don't know where the hell Saint Basil, or what the hell he does, or who he is in the church. No rank, I guess. He was laughing at Rakal War, his family,
Yes.
who Tazadakia divided and married, had his wife marry another brother named Shamshawan, his crazy ass, and then I believe Rakak Harab. I don't want to misspeak, but I think the same thing happened with his family. I think something with something similar, and they're laughing and saying, I've never seen your kids so happy before." What? How can you say that? Leave the kids out of this, man. Like, that really bugs me. And I did a video, which is one of my favorite ones. I do personal videos that I think, like, are like, this needs to be put out. If I really wanted to blow my channel up, I'll talk about Will Smith, Chris Rock, Cat Williams,
Right.
entertainment news, and I don't care about that. This is what's important. That one of my favorite videos is Icgjc dividing families. It probably doesn't have as many views as some of my other videos, but that's my favorite one. And I went into a literal, like, college thesis paper that was written on it, like, full details. And one of the sections that I pointed out was the unbelieving spouse, when one leaves and the other one remains, and they have kids, and the problems that come in with that. It's like, now the family gets divided, and it's the cult's fault. It's not our fault. Yeah, we were in there and then we decided to leave, but you know, Tazadaki at some point was saying, yeah, you could still be married to them. But then after a certain point, he was like, no, now divorce is
Yep. He stopped it.
right.
Yep. He
Spiritual,
did.
because God said, Jesus Christ said, save for fornication. You can't divorce your spouse, save for fornication. So now, not believing in Tazadaki at spiritual fornication. You see, this is crazy that they do that. And so they divide families. They tell you, don't speak to these people. These people are the devil, and all of this. And then they tell the kids that are still in there, they get told, your father is the devil. Like, that's horrible. That's horrible. So she thinks you're
That's what they did. And that's what they did to plenty of, and I think he got pleasure out of separating families and taking wives and kicking. I mean, it just
evil. So evil. How do you get pleasure off of some, like, you didn't do that, right? You're the cult leader and you can just let it be whatever. No, you got to go even further and just be that evil person and stick in the needle and stick in the knife, whatever, even further and turn the knife and all of that. When it's like, why are you doing that to the brother of Carl Ward? Like that really hurt me too, because I was, I was close with him. I was talking to him and I felt his pain. And how do you do that? That's just, you got to be pure evil. That's pure evil.
And he was like an uncle to me, like in the Philly church. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, how much he gave to how much he would take the shirt off his back to make sure you were good, any of us. So like when that happened, that kind of broke my heart too. It did.
Yeah, I like that guy. I haven't heard from him in a while. If he comes across this, I hope you're doing good, brother. I got a lot of love for you still, and
Yeah.
because that's some of the probably some of the worst cases that you don't hear about. There's people that have committed suicide. There's
Yep.
Barr has committed suicide. There was Kim Lubrin who committed
Yep.
suicide to himself off a roof
Yep.
recently. In Brooklyn.
Recently.
Town. Yeah, I think it was Uptown.
Yeah.
Then you have people in there that who what's his name? Saint Hood was a ranking member, and unfortunately, and this is sad, he was shot and killed, mistaken identity in Philly. Now, why is this happening to members? And I'm not trying to use his death as some type of aha moment. It's very sad that happened. But Tazadaki, I heard, told him that he's going to be all right. He's going to make it. And the brother died.
Wow.
He died within hours. And this could be very
Wow.
by Nick Johnson, I believe his name is, St. Basil's brother, who's out now. St. Hood told him that Tazadakia told him that just before he died. He died not even a day before that, I think. So there's a lot of stories like that. There's a sister named Abar, or her name was Abar Raka, and she was an elect lady in Orlando. She passed away. She has some health issues. So there's people in there that died. But then what do they do when people that leave die? There was a few people that have died after they left. And they use it as aha, you see, you shouldn't
You
leave the
see?
church. That's evil
Yeah.
as hell.
Joanna says sweet basil. Exactly that.
Sweet
Exactly
baby.
that. That's the right name.
Yeah, he talks a tough one, but yeah, these guys, they never they always stayed away from addressing me too, and I think that they're still going off of old orders from Tazadakia, and now they don't really know what to do or something. I don't know, because they know who to pick on and they know who to talk about, and I wonder if they're gonna address this. Um, you know, there's this is not to throw dirt on anybody's name. Um, just to expose the truth is really what we're doing. We're exposing the truth. It's going to come out. It always surfaces regardless. You cannot hide it.
That's another one that shouldn't talk. I'm gonna just say that.
St. Basil
Shouldn't
or
talk.
Maya Ka'ala. I hate to
No,
call it,
sir.
like,
No, sir. Let's just leave that alone. Don't talk. I was at the house. I
yeah.
stayed nights there, weekends there, best friends with their whole family.
Mm.
Let's not. Let's just leave that alone. The way them wives got treated, let's not.
So now you're out of this place. Um, how do you feel? How do you feel today? Being able to talk about this and laugh.
Oh gosh.
Ain't it fun?
Gosh. I you ever try to search for the words for something and you can't really describe the joy of it? Um, it is like thinking that you're sentenced to life and then you get parole and nobody tells you it's coming. Now you have your freedom again, you can see the sun again, you can enjoy the outside fresh air. Um, what you realize outside of that place is you learn absolutely nothing until you get out. right? You don't really learn or understand or have any like insight or revelation until you're out of there. And you really start to see how much of a jail it is on your mind.
Yeah.
So being outside of there, I feel free. I feel saved. I feel um like I have my voice again. I feel
Mm,
like no one can dictate the outcome of my life based on my body or what I was born as. Now I have a choice in the matter. Um, and I feel like I have an actual purpose and direction now
mm,
versus somebody else telling me this is who you have to be, this is how you have to talk, this is how you have to look, this is what it is. Now I have a say so in that. And so that's a freedom, that's a power that once you experience it, you never give it to another person. I know some people leave cults and they go from cult to cult to cult, but there's
yeah.
a point where you say like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like this is I get to control this and I'm not ever giving that to another man. When it says, and I'm not quoting scripture, I know that's not the purpose of this, but I live by this. Like when it says curses a man that put his trust in man, that's what it means.
Yeah.
It really becomes a curse on your life when you put that much power in the hands of a man who really is. Can I curse on here? I haven't cursed the
Yeah,
whole time. I was trying to be respectful.
please do.
It's just a bum ass nigga, and you putting your life and the power in the hands of this
Yeah.
bum ass niggas. Like that's what it is. And when you realize you don't have to do that no more, come
Yeah.
on, sky's the limit. So
Sky's the limit.
I
And it's real quick. No, finish your
don't go
thought.
ahead. I feel like a new person, and I would absolutely never ever look at going back that way. No, y'all couldn't pay me to go back in there.
No. No, no, no. Um, I I feel the same, and they're gonna make it seem as if we just love the freedom to do evil, and that's not what it is. It's the freedom from these chains that were holding us back. Um, I don't need a Tazadakia. I don't need Jermaine or anybody, any unit leader that I have to report to every day and tell him, I'm going to come in late or I'm going to be on time every day. It's
Exactly.
oppression. You feel oppressed. You feel like, damn, I can't even move. I have to request to go to my brother's funeral, because I need time off and I'm going to be unclean for a week, and I have to ask permission to go to my brother's funeral. Come on, man. This is oppression. This is the chains that they put on you, and it's like you don't need that in life. There's nothing you don't need somebody to tell you whether you need to go to your brother's funeral or whether you can, you're gonna be 5 minutes late and you're gonna get screamed on like a child just because
Right.
some dude who's probably going through a lot more, issues than you. He has a little bit of rank over you now, and that could be taken away in a day, next week for nothing. Um, so the freedom is beautiful. I love that you said purpose because I was actually just reading something about, leaving a cult and how you need to create purpose in your life because there's a void that's left. This place controlled your time. Time control is part of the behavior control.
Yes,
And
it is.
yes, and it keeps your mind away. It fuses with a lot of stuff too. It's not just behavior; it's information control because so much time that you spend, the information is not getting to you. Um, of course, the thought control and all of that, emotional control, it all gets fused in either way because sometimes they like to throw time control into behavior control and other things into specific things, but it can be moved around. So when it comes to all of that control, it's like you don't you now become, when you leave or get put out or whatever happens, you now have this big void and you feel like maybe you're useless or you don't have that power, you don't feel good enough anymore. Or some reports or some studies show that men and women, especially when dealing with behavior control, which is goes into sexual control, sexual behavior control, they become more promiscuous afterwards. You have to watch
Yep.
for these things. You could become more promiscuous And yeah, these things can happen because of the cult, but it all ties back into the cult. But it takes time. It can take some time afterwards for you to find your way back in life. And when you find a purpose, it's really helps to deal with everything. And I think with me, I found a purpose here with this channel and talking to former members, people like you. It really
Mhm.
good, and I don't need anything but just a thank you or I appreciate or an email that says you've helped me a little bit, it's even just a little bit. And it's been a lot of emails and a lot of sometimes mothers that's dealing with their daughters being in there or son or a sister, or they themselves are just recently leaving. And all of that is like, I feel like, wow, how did I get here? But it helps me, with a purpose now. And, you need that in life. So that's good that, I love that you said that. You're definitely a prime example. People need to, take notes here. And I take notes for sure. I'm gonna watch this as soon as we finish too, because this
Me too.
no, this has been great. I really
Good.
appreciate. I definitely want to leave you. I think I'm gonna close it out right now. I'm gonna start wrapping it up, but
Okay.
I want to, I don't just want to leave you like that. I want you to get the last words and make sure that you get everything out that you wanted to say. Any messages to people that are still in there, or people that
Yeah.
are thinking about leaving. Whatever you want to touch. I'll give you a good amount of time, however long you want to go. I'm gonna just shut up now, so you go.
Yeah. No, you're good. I appreciate what you're doing with this channel like more than you know. When you first got started, I've been following along since the beginning. So I appreciate you even taking the time to create this platform for us to come up here and speak out and have a voice on this. It's a lot of people out there that want to shut us down, the survivors. I think that's what we are. We're not unbelievers, we're survivors. And I just want to give you your flowers, you know what I'm saying, publicly, because you put in the work to create this platform. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think the last thing I would say is I probably would answer a question. Like I said, I do have sisters that reach out to me and ask me, can I talk to their husbands and how to get out? And I think I would leave it on that. And I would just say that I know it's hard to get from underneath, especially if you're not the one that is bringing in the majority of the finances. A lot of times it's mental control. It's not even financial. Because let's be honest, most of the financial situations, not all, is some brothers who are doing what they're supposed to do. So I'm not going to put that narrative out there. But a large majority, unfortunately, in that place, it's the women who are carrying the bag. And so if that's the situation and you are financially the one that's holding it all up, I'm gonna tell you what my mama that took care of me and saved me told me. You already doing it by yourself anyway.
Nice.
So what's gonna be so different if you leave this toxic place or if you leave and you walk away from, yeah, you might have to walk away from that relationship, but if he is abusing you, if he is committing adultery on you by picking up women off the street and calling them their wives because they slept together, if you're in a situation where you and your kids are in danger, there's no sin in that. Walk away, especially if you're holding a financial bag. And I know that's hard, and I do agree that we need to have some type of support system, like for the ones who have left. Um, I think we definitely should have something for the women who got out because there's a lot of sisters who are crying and wanting to get out of there and they just don't know how. But I do want to say like my door is always open. If you want to reach out, if you need support, if you need to talk, if you want advice on what to do once you get out, cuz like you just said, Miguel, once you get out, that's the hard part. I don't even think leaving is the hard part. The hard part is leaving and not going back.
Right.
Because once you get out, you are so isolated from the real world because you've been locked into this thing for so long. That's when all of the issues come up and you have to fight that to stay strong enough to be out of there. So um you can do this. Your life becomes a lot more productive. You have more money, you have more peace, you find that your relationships are a lot easier to handle once you get yourself in some type of therapy. And most of my success came after I left that church. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've been blessed to be able to build multiple businesses. I have literally traveled from here to Hawaii and back. I lived in Hawaii almost a year. On my business, speaking, traveling on stages, all of that came after the church. So when they tell you you're gonna leave and there's something terrible, no, the best years of your life are after you walk out. Trust me on that. I'm not even bragging. None of that was me. All of that was the Most High. But I just want to say there's a life for you outside that building or outside that whatever it is, the Zoom calls or whatever the hell they doing now. But walking out isn't the hard part. Staying out is going to be the hard part. So the door is open. Reach out if you ever need. I'll make sure, I'll give you like my contact. You could DM me, hit me up on like Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
You want
But
to
I just
put
want to yeah,
something,
I'll drop it in the comments if I can.
and when we finish, you send it to me. I'll put it in the description.
Okay, yeah, I'll send it over. I just want to encourage anybody, male, female, whatever. Like if you have been questioning and considering walking out, this is it. This is the sign, whatever it is you're looking for, like run, come out, like get out. Because I believe what happened to Jermaine, it's gonna be worse for the ones who still perpetuating this cult on people. Like they're about to get much worse than what he got, and not just them, but the people that follow him, the people that follow them. So run now, get out now.
Get out. Man, I couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't think of a better guest to have right now. You've become a beautiful, successful woman inside and out. I gotta tell you, thank you for doing this.
Thank
It's
you.
easy, but you're making it look real easy. I'll tell you. Really do. You really do. I know this is not easy, but no, that's good. Uh, like I said, like she said, like Cena said, just to echo, I'm not gonna talk much, but because that was a perfect way to end it off. We are here for you guys. There's people available that you can talk to, and it's like that. That's sometimes that's all you need. Just somebody to listen and understand. So
Yeah.
uh, I want to do more things for sure with you and collaborate somehow, any way that we could. I definitely see what you do, and I'm gonna put your information in the description of the video if anybody wants to find out how to contact this beautiful woman right here, this strong, successful. I mean, this is great. I think this is we need to do something else soon, maybe,
Yeah.
and find a topic, but to focus on because we were kind of, I wanted to talk about your story, and it led to a lot of other things, but it was perfect, and this is
Yeah.
how I do it anyways, just freestyling it. And yeah, I'm glad that you came here, and you have a lot more to say. There's a lot more to come. I think this place is crumbling. There might be a little core, a few core members remaining, but get out while you can because
Mhm.
the longer you stay in that place and lie to yourself and deceive yourself, you're gonna lose your mind in there, or more or worse. So take take us as an example of somebody that has progressed after this place and not deteriorated and fell off or destroyed as they claim. We're living proof that it's all right. You're gonna be okay after this place. There's life after
Absolutely.
this place. So all right, well, I think I'm gonna end it there then. I appreciate you. This has been
Thank you,
great.
Miguel.
Thank you. And everybody out there, I appreciate you guys coming on. I see there's 30 people on right now. I think somebody wanted to get on. I saw, but I think we'll leave that for something for another time because I think this is a good place to end it here. And this is one for the books right here, San Miguel TV.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You
Thank you
did.
for having me.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. So I'll be back January 28th for everybody with Mr. Girari and possibly, we don't know yet, somebody else. We'll be talking about the ICGJC a little bit. And this is what we do. So thank you again, everybody. Have a good night. Cena, you have a good
Good
night
night. You
soon.
too.
And peace out, everybody. Much
Peace and
love.
blessings, y'all.
All right. Peace out. Bye-bye.